You've probably heard of core values, and if they haven't been used well in your organizations, they're probably just words that are on the wall or on a website that don't really mean much and are never put to use. This is a big error that many organizations make because when brought to life and when used properly, core values can save millions of dollars over the course of a decade by hiring less of the wrong people and make millions of dollars by bringing and attracting and reinforcing the right people in the organization. So I'm going to show you how to use and establish core values in your organization and then how to bring them to life. So what are core values? Core values are the defining characteristics of the culture of your organization. There are a few, 2, 3, 4, handful of rules that define how you all live and breathe as an organization from a cultural standpoint. They exist within the organization already, so all they need to be is discovered. Pat Lencioni, who's a great thought leader as it relates to core values, describes them as the core essential values that are unchanging and unmoving in your organization. There's other values that are important but not quite core that he calls value traps. The first one is permission to play, which is boilerplate, generic values like integrity and honesty that are required just to get an interview at a company like yours, but are not core values. Aspirational values are values that you would love to have as an organization, but you don't quite have. We want to eliminate those because if you list it as a core value, most of the people in the organization aren't going to exhibit them and they're going to fall flat. Accidental values are values that served you to get to where you are, but won't serve you to get to the next level. Those are important values, but not core to the organization. Those are going to be stripped away to find your core values. So let me show you how I teach my clients to discover their core values. This is based on the book Traction by Gino Wickman and is the foundation of how we do it within the Entrepreneurial Operating System. First is you're going to get your leadership team together in a room, uninterrupted, for at least 2 hours. Then you're going to have every person list 3 people who are the rock stars of your organization. That's 3 people not in the room, who, if you had 100 of them, you could accomplish any goals, any tasks. So think about those 3 people for you, put them on the board, and you're going to have a list of people on the board. And then with those 3 people in mind, take 5 minutes and write down the defining characteristics that made you put them on your list. What made you put them on your list? What makes them great? Once you have that list, everyone's going to put their list onto the board. You'll get up to 20 or 30 descriptors, and you're going to narrow it down. You need to narrow that down by keeping the values that you all think are core, getting rid of the ones that you think are not, and then combining similar and like values together into themes. Once you've done that, then you're going to narrow it down further. That's when you got to start being critical about what's really core to your organization, because you're narrowing down to 3 to 7 is our number, but less is more. It needs to be a number that can be memorized by people in your organization. So you're going to battle, remember to remove the 3 value trap values and whittle it down to the right number where you all get to the point where you say, yes, these represent the culture of our organization. Then you're going to have someone, a key leader, take a to-do to write the speech, which is put the values in bullet point format and then write a speech so you can explain the values to your team. You're going to let this sit for 30 days and then come together as a team. Don't share them yet, but come together as a team. Have that person share the speech with the small leadership team, and then you all debate whether those are your values or you need to refine them further. If you love them, great. More often than not, there's some tweaks you need to make, and this takes a few months. So this is a multi-month process. You got to let it breathe and make sure you really love them. But if you give it the time it needs and the energy it needs, you will get to values that you all really believe represent your organization. From there, then you want to bring them to life, which is use them in interview questions to attract the right people in your hiring and repel the wrong people. Use them in your regular reviews to reward and evaluate the people in your organization. Are they living up to your core values? Use them to fire the wrong people when you determine that someone doesn't exhibit your core values. Use them to reinforce good behavior by having core value awards, core value shout outs. Put them up on the wall. Name your conference room after them. Use them to the point that people have them memorized and ingrained in the organization. If you do, you will have an easier way to manage the culture of your organization and grow however you want to grow your organization.